Think about the last promise you made to yourself. Not to someone else, but to yourself. Maybe it was starting a business, losing weight, learning a skill, or finally changing a habit you've been unhappy with for years. You probably started strong. You felt motivated. You told yourself, this time is different. And then a life happened. You got busy. You got tired. You lost momentum. And slowly, quietly, you stopped. Most people believe they fail because they lack talent, intelligence, or motivation. But according to Peter Hollins, that's not the real reason. The real reason most people never change their lives is simple. They don't know how to follow through. In this video, we'll break down the complete framework from Finish What You Start, a practical guide to executing, taking action, and building self-discipline. Not just how to start goals, but how to finish them. Finishing what you start means turning intentions into reality. It's the difference between ideas that stay in your head and actions that change your life. Most people don't fail because they never start. They fail because they quit when things get uncomfortable. Fatigue, boredom, fear, and distractions pull them away, and unfinished goals pile up like reminders of who they meant to become. Peter Hollins shares a personal story of attempting to carve a small wooden canoe. He started strong, quit when it became uncomfortable, restarted years later, and almost quit again. What finally helped him finish wasn't more willpower, it was strategy. By pairing an unpleasant task with an enjoyable reward, he discovered a way to push through resistance. That realization led him to study the psychology of execution. This book is the result. Chapter 1. Stop thinking, just execute. Most people believe that success begins with clarity, planning, and preparation. They think that once they feel ready enough, confident enough, or informed enough, action will naturally follow. Peter Hollins argues the opposite. In reality, action creates clarity, not the other way around. The chapter opens with the story of Esther, a woman stuck in a comfortable but unfulfilling desk job. For years, she fantasizes about starting a home-based baking business. Baking is her passion, and people around her regularly encourage her to pursue it seriously. One day, she finally decides that she will try. She doesn't quit her job immediately, but she takes a 2-week vacation to figure things out. Instead of baking, testing recipes, or selling even a single product, Esther spends her time researching endlessly. She convinces herself that she needs to understand every detail of running a business before she begins. Taxes, permits, marketing, competition, everything feels overwhelming. The more she thinks, the less she acts. Her vacation ends, and nothing has changed except her disappointment in herself. Esther's story illustrates a central truth. Overthinking is often disguised procrastination. Thinking feels productive, but without execution, it leads nowhere. Hollins defines following through as a combination of 4 essential components working together. The first component is focus. Focus means directing your attention toward a single objective instead of scattering it across dozens of possibilities. Without focus, effort is diluted. You may stay busy all day, yet make no meaningful progress. Focus ensures that every action points toward the same destination. The second component is self-discipline. Self-discipline is the ability to work despite discomfort, boredom, fatigue, or temptation. It is what keeps you moving forward when motivation fades. Discipline allows you to control impulses and delay gratification in service of a larger goal. The third component is action. Action is where intention becomes reality. No amount of focus or discipline matters if it is not expressed through behavior. Action does not need to be perfect or massive. It simply needs to exist. Even imperfect action builds momentum. The fourth component is persistence. Persistence is staying committed over time. Many goals require sustained effort, not short bursts of enthusiasm. Persistence is what allows you to keep going when progress is slow or invisible. Most people fail because one or more of these elements collapses under pressure. Hollins explains that there are 2 broad reasons people don't follow through. The first is inhibiting tactics. These include setting vague or unrealistic goals, procrastinating through excessive planning, giving in to distractions, and managing time poorly. These behaviors quietly sabotage progress while giving the illusion of effort. The second reason is psychological roadblocks. Fear of judgment, fear of failure, laziness, perfectionism, and lack of self-awareness prevent people from taking action. Ironically, by avoiding action to protect themselves from failure, people guarantee failure. Following through is difficult, but its rewards are life-changing. People who finish what they start experience greater self-trust, stronger relationships, and higher achievement. They don't just dream about a better life, they build it. Chapter 2. Staying hungry. Motivation is often misunderstood. Many people assume that caring deeply about something is enough to sustain effort. This chapter dismantles that belief. Hollins introduces Sally, a woman who starts a charity to help impoverished people. Her intentions are noble, but she quickly becomes overwhelmed. Fundraising, marketing, administration, and competition drain her enthusiasm. Because she never prepared for the unpleasant aspects of her mission, her motivation collapses and she abandons the cause. The lesson is clear: passion alone is fragile. Motivation must be engineered. Hollins explains that motivation depends on alignment between three forces: what you care about, the positive benefits you gain, and the negative consequences you avoid. When these forces are disconnected, motivation fades. Motivation comes in two primary forms: external and internal. External motivation relies on outside pressure. This includes accountability partners, accountability groups, financial commitments, and social expectations. External motivators work largely by helping you avoid pain, shame, guilt, loss of money, or disappointment. While they may not feel noble, they are effective. Examples include committing to someone else, investing money up front, or creating consequences for failure. When quitting becomes more painful than continuing, follow-through improves. Internal motivation comes from desire rather than fear. It is rooted in personal values, meaning, and long-term vision. Internal motivators answer questions like, how will my life improve? How will my family benefit? What kind of person will I become? Internal motivation tends to be more sustainable because it connects effort to identity and purpose. Hollins also introduces the concept of opportunity cost. Every goal requires sacrifice. Time spent building something is time not spent on comfort or leisure. If the cost feels too high, motivation collapses. To overcome this, you must either increase the perceived benefit or reduce the perceived cost. Strengthen your reasons, or make the task easier to sustain. Finally, motivation must stay visible. The mind forgets easily. Reminders, cues, and repeated reflection keep goals present. When motivation disappears from awareness, effort disappears with it. Chapter 3. Create a manifesto. Willpower is unreliable. It fluctuates based on energy, mood, stress, and environment. Relying on it alone is a losing strategy. Hollins proposes replacing willpower with rules. A manifesto is a personal code of conduct, a set of non-negotiable rules that guide behavior automatically. Rules eliminate daily decision-making and remove the opportunity for self-negotiation. When rules exist, the choice to quit never arises. The first rule is self-evaluation. Before giving up, ask yourself whether fear or laziness is the real reason. Confronting this truth creates accountability and disrupts self-deception. The second rule is limiting focus to 3 major tasks per day. Overcommitment leads to overwhelm, which kills execution. Fewer priorities lead to deeper focus and consistent progress. The third rule is creating daily limitations and requirements. Limitations reduce distraction. Requirements ensure progress. Together, they form structure. The fourth rule is reaffirming intentions. Clearly state what you want, what you will do to achieve it, and what you will not do because it interferes with that goal. Repetition keeps intentions alive. The fifth rule is the October 10th 10 principle. Before giving in to temptation or quitting, consider how the decision will feel in 10 minutes, 10 hours, and 10 days. This forces long-term thinking. The sixth rule is just 10 minutes. Delay harmful urges by 10 minutes. Extend productive behavior by 10 minutes. Small delays and extensions compound into discipline. Rules simplify life. They turn discipline into routine and effort into habit. Chapter 4. Follow-through mindsets. Following through is primarily a mental challenge. Mindsets determine how people interpret discomfort, setbacks, and resistance. One essential mindset is identity-based execution. Instead of asking whether you feel motivated, ask who you are. People who see themselves as disciplined act accordingly. Identity drives behavior. Another critical mindset is embracing discomfort. Discomfort is not a warning sign. It is proof that you are stretching beyond your comfort zone. Avoiding discomfort guarantees stagnation. Hollins emphasizes patience. Results rarely appear immediately. Progress often happens beneath the surface before becoming visible. Those who quit early never see the payoff of their effort. A strong follow-through mindset reframes struggle as part of the process rather than a reason to stop. When execution becomes part of your identity, finishing what you start stops feeling heroic. It becomes normal. Chapter 5. The Science of Smashing Procrastination. Procrastination is often misunderstood as laziness or a lack of discipline. In reality, procrastination is emotional avoidance. It is the brain's attempt to escape discomfort, uncertainty, or perceived difficulty. When faced with a task that feels overwhelming, boring, or mentally taxing, the brain naturally seeks immediate relief. It pushes us towards short-term comfort, checking our phones, watching videos, reorganizing our workspace, or convincing ourselves it will start later when we feel more prepared. Peter Hollins explains that the brain is wired to prioritize immediate rewards over long-term benefits. From an evolutionary standpoint, conserving energy and avoiding discomfort once kept humans alive. Today, that same wiring works against productivity. The problem is not that people refuse to work, it's that they wait to feel ready. Unfortunately, readiness rarely arrives on its own. One of the most effective ways to defeat procrastination is task reduction. Large goals create psychological resistance because they appear vague and endless. When a task feels too big, the mind shuts down. Instead of focusing on the entire goal, Hollins emphasizes breaking tasks into extremely small, non-threatening actions. Not write a report, but open the document. Not study for the exam, but read one page. These micro-actions bypass emotional resistance and lower the barrier to entry. Once action begins, momentum takes over. The hardest part is not continuing, it is starting. Another key principle is separating progress from mood. Waiting to feel motivated is a trap. Action generates motivation, not the other way around. Even 5 minutes of effort can change your mental state and create forward motion. Procrastination thrives in ambiguity. Clear next steps weaken it. When you always know the next physical action to take, there's less room for hesitation. Chapter 6. No Distraction Zone. Distraction is the silent killer of follow-through. It doesn't stop you from working entirely. It fractures your attention so severely that progress slows to a crawl. Hollins explains that attention is a limited resource. Every interruption drains mental energy and increases the time it takes to regain focus. Multitasking feels productive, but it actually reduces efficiency and quality of work. Modern distractions are especially dangerous because they are engineered to hijack attention. Notifications, social media feeds, and endless content streams reward the brain with instant gratification. The solution is not total deprivation, but strategic control. The first step is environmental design. Your surroundings should support focus, not sabotage it. If your phone is within reach, it will eventually steal your attention. If distractions are visible, they will be used. Create physical and digital barriers. Silence notifications. Log out of distracting apps. Work in environments associated only with focus. The second step is time boundaries. Schedule periods of deep work and periods of rest. When the brain knows rest is coming, it resists distraction less during work sessions. Discipline is not about resisting temptation endlessly. It's about reducing exposure to temptation in the first place. Chapter 7. Deadly Pitfalls. Even disciplined people fail to follow through when they fall into predictable traps. Hollins identifies several deadly pitfalls that sabotage long-term execution. One major pitfall is overconfidence. Early success can create the illusion that discipline is no longer required. People loosen structure too soon and slip back into old habits. Another pitfall is burnout. Excessive intensity without recovery leads to exhaustion and resentment toward the goal itself. Progress should be sustainable, not punishing. Rigidity is another danger. When plans are too strict, unexpected obstacles can cause complete collapse. Flexibility allows adaptation without abandonment. Ignoring recovery is also costly. Rest is not weakness, it is maintenance. Without recovery, focus and discipline degrade over time. Self-awareness is the safeguard against these pitfalls. Recognizing early warning signs allows course correction before failure occurs. Chapter 8. Daily Systems for Success. Long-term success is not built through heroic effort. It is built through systems. A system is a repeatable process that produces results regardless of motivation. Systems remove reliance on willpower and replace it with structure. Daily routines reduce decision fatigue. When actions are automatic, mental energy is preserved for meaningful work. Hollins emphasizes consistency over intensity. Small actions performed daily outperform occasional bursts of extreme effort. Systems should be simple, realistic, and aligned with your goals. The easier a system is to maintain, the more likely it is to survive stress and disruption. Tracking progress reinforces behavior. When you can see evidence of consistency, motivation increases naturally. Ultimately, systems turn follow-through into a default behavior. You stop forcing yourself to act. Action becomes part of who you are. When systems are in place, finishing what you start is no longer a struggle. It becomes routine. Finishing what you start is a skill. It combines focus, discipline, action, and persistence. Motivation must be engineered. Rules must replace willpower. Discomfort must be accepted. When you follow through, you build trust with yourself. And self-trust is the foundation of confidence, success, and lasting change. The difference between who you are and who you want to be isn't talent. It's execution. Finish what you start.